Neptune. As I'm filming this, that means a lot of tech problems. Anyway, so I'm going to try to make this quick. I was going to make this long, but I don't think that would be the right plan. Anyway, but if you are here talking to and want to know about the Pisces lunar eclipse, then you are at the right place. My name is Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer, and we are talking about the partial lunar eclipse in the sign Pisces is at 4 degrees. We'll talk about the date. Hopefully, I have time to do horoscopes. If not, don't worry, I will post them somewhere. You will get them, okay? And yeah, and I'm going to break down the aspects. I'm going to talk about predictions. I'm going to talk about common themes. You're already feeling this, okay? I'm not late to the party. I've discussed this several times, especially in my monthly videos, but here we get the details. So let's get started.
Oh, Danyell, Carmelita, oh, can't you see the stars align? Just come to me. Tarot and cosmos, your fate's inside. Danyell, Carmelita, shining bright.
Okay, so we're jumping right into it. I just want you to know we have two sets of eclipse every year, and there's usually 2 to 3 eclipse per eclipse season. And this year this season we only have 2 eclipse. This is the last of the Pisces set of eclipse, and it is a lunar eclipse. Okay, a lunar eclipse happens when the earth moves between the sun and the moon. It's usually a full moon, but you can call it a powerful full moon or a supercharged full moon. Okay, I find that lunar eclipse are not as big as the solar eclipse, but it is what it is. It does bring emotions. It does illuminate something, culmination. There could be a celebration. There's action, there's limelight, there's revelations, emotional turning point, endings, and releasing. Every time you are talking about an eclipse, you could talking about an end, a death of something. I do know that we just lost a celebrity, Hayden Panettiere. I was looking at her interviews, and she did talk about a lot about being a celebrity and a child star. I think that is more connected with the eclipse that we just ended off with, and that was connected with the South Node. I'll talk about what that means in a minute, but it is what it is. The moon also relates to mom, and she did talk about her mom. So there is that, and Mars was out of bounds. If you want to check out that video, we're still going to feel that energy about 2-3 months after. Anyway, but the moon relates to emotions, habits, family, home, security, the past. And the lunar eclipse is going to add more to some of those themes. Um, Information can be revealed, and we're asking to either be releasing it or emotionally process something that hasn't reached the end of its cycle. The energy can last up to 6 months. We could be feeling it 2-3 months before. And an example of that, if we go back to Hayden, who I think is connected to one of these eclipses, I think really the first eclipse that I talked about in a previous video, you would know that she was already starting to do a book tour. And her interviews, it was an interview a month ago. She talked about a lot of the themes that deal with that eclipse. Now, let's talk about this eclipse because that's where we're here. This eclipse is connected to the North Node. So something about the future, something about gaining something can sometimes bring excellent results, actually. Sometimes when you have an eclipse with the North Node, it seems more positive. A lunar eclipse, something has reached a turning point. You see it clearly, and the North Node being attached to that lunar eclipse is that this is where you've been challenged to grow next. Usually this could represent destiny, soul growth, new opportunities, future direction, divine timing, what you're meant to develop. It tends to feel more like a culmination, pulls you forward into something that's unfamiliar territory. Some people don't like things that are new, and this eclipse will bring something new. The North Node is where you never experienced something, so there could be fear, but there is a desire to growth, for growth and expansion. Okay, you can feel overwhelmed as you are pushed to uncharted territories. Events feel faded and unavoidable. When I first learned about astrology and I first learned about eclipse, it is like eclipsing your life, changing your life because you're going down the wrong path. Okay, now if this is a positive North Node eclipse, then it's going to bring something of strength. There's going to be luck. There's going to be like a contract coming into your life, new opportunities, very energizing, very exciting, very stimulating. Attention. seeking or not seeking, bringing attention to your life, maybe something bright, something boosting, increasing fortune. Now, if it's negative, it's more invasive or excessive, maybe overwhelmed. There's aggression, there's swelling, there's hyperactive. You could be dealing with flooding. You could be dealing with toxic. You could be dealing with greed. You could be dealing with destruction, breaking, swelling, because the North Node swells things. Whatever house is in your horoscope, it can even swell that, make it bigger. Okay. Now, I want to look at if you are listening to this via podcast, hello, welcome. If you're watching this via YouTube, on Twitch, Facebook, X, or yes, like I said, YouTube, then you're able to see the chart that I'm showing now. If you're not, it's fine. I'm going to explain. The North Node that is sitting next to eclipse. Every time we have an eclipse, it's because it's sitting close to either the North or South Node. It's sitting next to the North Node, so that means we're gaining something. And that North Node is not in the same sign as this eclipse. Some astrologers feel like that makes this eclipse not as strong. It is sitting in Aquarius and it's sitting at 29 degrees, which is a pretty strong degree. The North Nodes start off backwards. So they start off in the last degree and they always kind of move in retrograde, right? So it starts off at 29 degrees in Aquarius. So there's major themes in technology, innovation, community, collective, freedom, anything dealing with Aquarius things, breaking the norms, breaking the rules, being independent, humanitarian, equal. Equality, social change, collective movements, maybe the future for yourself or anything dealing with future generations or science, space, innovation, AI. The North Node here is symbolic for maybe something is going to reform, rebel, maybe there's going to be something unconventional. Are people demanding a greater autonomy? It is the opposite of Leo. Leo's in the South Node, and Leo is all about the individual, the voice, leadership, acting, the actor, okay? Community, not community, community versus the self, okay? Aquarius wants more of the collective. Now, so we have that, and the South Node is all about the ego and celebrity, as if I just said that. Okay, so I'm trying to move fast, so I'm a little flustered because I tried several times and I am very aware that Mercury is squaring Neptune. So if you have any glitches or anything dealing with your day-to-day routine and people are not seeing you, this is normal, okay? And check out my video yesterday. I did the weekly astrology. So you know the vibe in the sky. I know this is what I was in for, but I still feel a little flustered, okay? Now, the eclipse is at 4 degrees in a sign Pisces. 4 degrees is a Cancer degree. You're dealing with home, homeland, property, real estate, family, emotional security, caregiving, food, nurturing, healing, ancestry, belonging, protection, motherhood, women, the public, your home, protection, the people. If we're dealing with mundane astrology, meaning the world astrology, you guys check out my guns. This is someone who works out. Anyway, but the moon rules Cancer. So anything dealing with Cancer right now, the eclipse is going to affect that sign. And I'm pretty sure Mars is in the sign Cancer. You guys can see the chart. I can't see the chart. It's hiding behind all my windows. Let me see what this eclipse. Yeah, the Mars is in Cancer. So it's ruled by this eclipse. So the eclipse is really affecting this. Let me see what else we have. Okay. Now there is something called the Sabian symbol. Okay. And Dane, I don't know, want to butcher her name, Ruyard. She created this, and it's in this book called An Astrology Mandala. Okay. If you look up Pisces at 4 degrees, and when you look up at the Sabian symbol, you actually round up. So you look at it in 5 degrees. It's titled The Church Bazaar, a spiritual or higher meaning into ordinary social exchanges, spiritual expression through ordinary life, spirituality showing up through people, community service, giving, exchanging resources, and supporting one another. I said service, giving and receiving sacredness in everyday life. It is the value of giving spiritual and transcendent sanction to even the most common interactions. Possibility of the presence of God in even the most everyday material and routines, activities, living in grace. Okay. I'm just going to tell you all the stuff that I'm saying so far in a nutshell because I could be confusing you guys. You guys are like, what are you saying? Especially if you're new to astrology. Okay. First, the eclipse is going to bring a change. It's okay. It just changes the path of what you think you're normally supposed to do. So that's one. The change is connected to the North Node. And the North Node means something is going to be brought into your life, something new, a new direction. So that's two. So there's a change and a new direction. It is at 4 degrees. 4 degrees means everything dealing with Cancer. So it's dealing with either the mom or the home or everything that I just listed. Now, if we go a more spiritual route and we look at this church bazaar, not only is it dealing with the mom in a home, but there's something spiritual connected with this, with the everyday life. Okay. Thinking of God in the everyday life, thinking of God when you get in a car, think of God when you make breakfast, think of God, just everyday exchange. There is a spiritual, something spiritual involving it. Okay. So that's what we have connecting it already. And it is in the sign Pisces. The eclipse is in the sign Pisces. We're adding more to this. Okay. Pisces is, we'll first talk about the ruler of Pisces. And Pisces, the ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. That's the traditional ruler, and also Neptune. Okay. Now, Jupiter in Leo wants you to expand through creativity, through leadership, and wants you to stand ground, be a little stubborn because it's a fixed sign. It deals with entertainment, it deals with children, confidence, celebrities, royalty, and people who want attention. Okay. It's having some positive aspects with Saturn. So, setting boundaries and being serious and not being negative, not being pessimistic, but really thinking about the consequences of things. Okay. So, that is one effect of this eclipse. This eclipse is if you stand your ground, if you are positive, if you're optimistic, that's not Leo, not optimistic, but if you are strong in your convictions, that's very Leo energy, or if you are being a lion kind of energy, there's great long-term effects towards this. Okay. So that's what you have. Also, Jupiter is sextile Uranus, meaning that the surprises, being flexible, the future, all that works with this eclipse energy. Now, Neptune is the modern ruler of this eclipse, and Neptune is in the sign Aries. It's sextile Pluto, meaning that it works really good with the transformation of technology or the power of speech. Okay. And it's also sextile Uranus. So it works really great also with things that are different and very out of the box in AI and technology. Now it is squaring Mars. Mars is in Cancer. There's a wide square there, and that squaring to Mars makes things a little bit more complicated. It makes things, Mars is in Cancer and is ruled by the moon. So you're emotionally motivated. Again, you're protecting your family, you're protecting your home, your homeland, your emotional security. And Neptune can make things uncertain, misdirected, confusing. Is my intuition off, or why aren't you even trusting the intuition? Passive aggressiveness, emotional reactions, exhaustion, and fighting. You guys, I have a perfect example of these eclipse because I've already read it in my chart and I experienced something a few days ago and I was like, this is exactly this eclipse, but we'll continue. So I want you to understand that the ruler of this eclipse, the modern ruler in Jupiter, very positive, especially if you think of setting boundaries and working long term and not being negative. It really works well with that. Just really setting boundaries and being serious, right? Now, also too works with AI and gadgets. If the opportunity is out there, if you want to put that out there. Now, the traditional ruler is a little lost in the sauce when you're trying to protect that motherland, that mother home, or being a mother, or when you're emotional. It's a little lost in the sauce. Okay. Now, all of this is in the eclipse is in the sign Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. We got a lot of emotions. Okay. It influences the sea, the rivers. It relates to lower class, women, children, emotions, psychology, spiritual matters, anything fluid, sex, and diseases that are contagious. This also relates to oil, chemistry, sewage, recycling, hospitals, and loans. Also deals with any kind of sea life, floods are heavily associated with water eclipses. Water eclipses. I don't know why I put water eclipses. I talk into my notes, so instead of typing. So I sometimes I don't spell check. I have a Mars in Gemini. I move a little fast. Okay. Um, So also too, Pisces also represents like confinement of some sort. So I want you to be aware of that when I talk about some of the things that are currently happening. Now, Pisces is a mutable sign, meaning that it's ever adapting. It's a lot of change. There's a lot of movement. There's transitions and an ending that is preparing for us for something new. Mutable signs, you are going to be feeling this the most, okay? If you're a Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and of course Pisces, especially around the early degrees, if you have any placements around here, around here, around here, around here, I'm showing it. Which are the signs that I said, then you are going to be feeling this more most. There's going to be an adjustment, there's going to be a process, or there's going to be a transition, especially for you, okay? Letting go, closing out a chapter, adapting to circumstances, changing your beliefs, going with the flow rather than forcing the outcome, uncertainty before clarity, multiple developments, planning plans that are changing, preparing for the next cycle. But remember that Sabian symbol. Remember that there has to be God involved, even though Neptune is being a little lost in the sauce. Okay, let me see. Pisces, other things you're dealing with Pisces is escapism, drugs, hospitals, isolation, creativity, intuition, forgiveness, cleansing, because it's water, right? Healing, compassion, surrendering, emotional release, letting go. Forgiveness. Did I say forgiveness? I probably said that. Vivid dreams, healing grief. Pisces represents the end. It represents death. It also represents mental health. It also represents any type of addiction and rehabilitation, film, music. So this could be dealing with Hayden Panettiere because she also in her interviews talked about control and that her mom tried to control her. It caused her to have some addiction, and that addiction actually made her free. So we do have that. She also talked about themes that deal with the Mr. Jeffrey vows kind of energy, okay? Various This varies because you are also dealing with the opposite sign of Virgo. When you are dealing with uh this eclipse, you're talking about a full moon, right? So usually with the other eclipse, I'm drawing a blank right now. When you're dealing with a partial eclipse, a lunar partial eclipse, more lunar, then you are talking about Virgo energy and Pisces. You're talking about both. So there could be something that deals with work. There could be something that deals with employment, nurse, grain, data, bureaucracies, service workers, file systems, sanitations, public health, domestic, farming, again, the day to day routines, social services, sweatshops, and rodents. Okay, there could be that. Now, anytime we have an eclipse, the day of the eclipse, I would recommend not to do anything. Okay, the day of the eclipse, I never said, is August 27th. 2026 in LA time, because I live in Los Angeles, is at 9:18 p.m. This is in the evening. No rituals. Do that tomorrow. Do that on the next day. Don't do it. Could you do it? No, just don't do no rituals. Okay, it's not the time. Also, too, if I would suggest not taking any medications, you're talking about a Pisces eclipse. Um, Also, too, anything that causes drowsiness, things that make you sleep. Water is very unpredictable. Plumbing, spirits are more active around this time. Any kind of toxic pills, maybe there's a toxic spill. Take care of your misplaced items. Things go a little missing, okay? Loans given may not be repaid. Learn to say no to extra demands. Horrible for any type of details or data. Again, flooding, any type of flooding with water is huge. General depression can heighten. Avoid surgery of the feet. Emotional and sexual thresholds are low, and desire seduction. Seduction is huge with Pisces. People who are affected most, anyone who's around 3 degrees, I said the mutable signs. So you guys are affected most with this. We're going to talk about the aspects of this eclipse. It is close to Mercury, with the sun. Some would say somewhat almost a kazemi. So there could be some mental breakthroughs, a lot of important conversations, a lot of things discussed. Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. discussions, talking, analyzing, breaking things down, all the stuff of the service that I said of Virgo comes with this. But also, too, there could be something in the news, like an interview, like I talked about with Hayden Panettiere. I might be saying her last name, so I'm just going to say Hayden. She's an actress. She died of the age, I think, of 36 or 32, very young age, right? That could be that Mercury energy. But she also had a lot of interviews and was writing a book. She could be connected to this eclipse, right? And anytime you have eclipse or during eclipse season, there could be a possibility of death too. It's very common. Usually death of a leader, but also it could be death of this, especially when we just have the eclipse in Leo happening. Okay. But there also could be some clarity happening. Now, Mercury is in Virgo and it's opposing Pisces. You guys, I'm so distracted with my technology. It is doing whatever it wants to do. Yesterday, my living room TV just turned on. Someone's trying to do airplay, but it turned on. That's very that Mercury squaring Neptune. If you guys are having any tech problems, and I don't want to put that out there on you, it may not be affecting others. Anyway, but Mercury is opposing Pisces in an eclipse, right? So now Virgo wants logic, it wants facts, it wants plans, it wants control. Pisces wants you to surrender, let go of the control, release. Use your intuition. Why do you need facts? Go off of faith. Use compassion. Both of these signs are sacrificing, though. Both of them like to help. Head versus heart, information overload, emotional conversations, affect changing your perspective, learning when to analyze and when to let go, releasing being perfect, balancing logic with intuition. That is what you get personally. On a global scale, there may be some fog. Information causes illusions. Pisces can blur boundaries while Virgo wants verification. Major information being revealed is what could happen. Now, whistleblowers and all that stuff. Now, one thing I did notice, and I wish I had like a screenshot of this, but I was watching the news this morning while I was working out, and the military, USA military, there is a boat, and I think it's trapped. Do not quote me verbatim, but I think it's trapped and there's lack of resources. That's very much this Pisces energy in the ocean, in the water, entrapment. And the boat is in the Strait of Hormuz. And the Strait of Hormuz is where we did import and export. And it's stuck there. It was supposed to be fighting, but I think the president, Donald Trump, did not. I don't know if he let it go or what, but the people there, some people I think have committed suicide or tried to because they're trying to leave. I think this is the Navy, if I'm not sure. I was multitasking while listening to this. I was very shocked, but there's lack of resources. Their spouses are trying to fight for them. But you see this kind of happening in this theme here. And what I'm talking about is ocean themes. And I'm also talking about war because Mars is sitting in Cancer and the eclipse is in charge of Mars. So you're dealing with water themes, you're dealing with fighting for your homeland and protection, but it's not quite working. Remember, because it doesn't get along with Neptune. So the ocean doesn't get along with protection right now, right? Mercury itself is a planet of commerce and trade. And you're talking about a place that is sitting where there's commerce and trade happening and it's shut down, okay? Virgo wants you to find details that doesn't add up, while lunar eclipse can symbolize something previously obscured being visible. Health and medicine, transportation and logistics, and that's what I was just talking about, transportation and logistics. That's also added with that Mercury. Now at the same time, this eclipse is sextile Chiron in Taurus. And yes, and that's at 0 degrees. So a lot of self-worth and security and money and the body and feeling good enough is out there. If you want the healing, if you really want to work on the resources, is great. Now, this is the bad thing about this eclipse, okay? This eclipse is making a mutable T-square with Uranus, okay? Here's the moon, here's the sun. Sun is in Virgo, moon is in Pisces. What's in the middle causing problems? Uranus and Gemini, okay? Uranus and Gemini is not getting along with the sun / Mercury. It's also not getting along with the moon in Pisces, which is the eclipse. Okay. Uranus brings sudden news, unexpected conversations, breakthrough ideas, technology, disruption. You want freedom. Freedom is not working. And that also goes with the example that I just explained about them being on the boat, and the people in the boat want their freedom, the people in the Navy. Okay. A lot of surprises, breakthroughs, rebellions, intellect, weirdness, and sudden changes, unexpected emotional turning point. There could be sudden news, a conversation, a changing plan, unexpected endings. Breakthroughs are after confusion, changes involving your friends, social media, technology disruptions. Whew. Travel, transport changes, realizing that something is being believed is no longer true. Unexpected developments, especially with AI. Also, to shocking. This deals with navigation as well. Uranus. On a personal level, I wanted to talk about an example. I have it in my notes. On a personal level, for me, I'm a Sagittarius rising. Okay. And I'll talk about where it hits my chart, hopefully, if I have time. Ooh, I may not. Okay. So, on a personal level, I want you to understand that to show you how this eclipse affected me, my husband, I have a Tesla, and so does my daughter. And my husband, who I don't know if you'll get mad if I put this out here, but he wants to upgrade it and get the self driving. I'm not really into Teslas. I know I own one, but I will be great with an old fashioned Mustang. But there's financial reasons on why we have Teslas. Okay. So he wants to upgrade it and get the self driving. I'm saying no. Okay. I am Mama Bear. I am the Mars and Cancer and the moon, right? The sun's not getting along with the moon, the mom and the dad. Mind you, there was a discussion, wasn't no argument, but definitely a discussion of not agreement. Also, you're talking about day to day travel with the Mercury sitting next to the sun. Mercury sitting next to the sun. Uranus in Gemini, it makes things like, oh, look, you can have I call it AI, drive your car. That is that Uranus in Gemini. AI can drive your car day to day travel. Isn't that great? And I'm like, and you see how it's in the middle between the sun and the moon. We cannot agree. Having a discussion on this Uranus aspect. That is where that eclipse is happening, right? Something new with the North Node in Aquarius. That is something new being introduced that is very AI. Okay. Now, what else do we have for it? Pisces makes me very sentimental about it. Also, I always feel that there is a conspiracy element added to it. And then also with the Sabian symbol, it makes me think that I feel this is not what any, no judgment if you have a self driving car and you love it. I feel that there is fear added to it if you do the AI. You become dependent on the self-driving. There's so many ways that this is connected to me personally. Now, other things is that besides the oceans and flooding and technology, but also too there's earthquakes, there's accidents, there's cyber attacks, there's disasters. Okay. Information technology, okay, I said investigations, okay, but this eclipse also, I said it didn't belong to Mars. This eclipse, did I say it trines? Yes, this eclipse, because it's a Pisces, a water sign, works really well with Mars. What did I have now? Oh yes, Neptune not working with Mars. This eclipse actually works well with Mars. I feel like personally that my intuition is extra spiked when having this discussion with my husband. I'm like, no. It is a hard no. I thought of it. I had my points. I felt like my points were valid. That was the end of the discussion. I'm sure my daughter will revisit it because she's young and she loves everything new, okay, without any consequences. But for the collective, you're talking about that Mars of you being a mama bear, or action and anger, and military and conflict, and all that. And you're focused on home and your homeland and your family and territory and protection and security and food and housing and national identity. That works well with this eclipse. Okay. So we're going to jump my notes and I'm going to show you real quick different countries. I'm going to first show you Iran here. And Iran is really affected by this eclipse. Is it good or bad? Remember, the North Node could be very positive. And what I have, let me look at my notes so I can remember everything because I forget stuff. The eclipse squares. Where's the eclipse? The eclipse is here, and it squares the ascendant and descendant. It's sitting on their Venus. Their Venus is at in Pisces at 3 degrees. Their Saturn is at retrograding at 8 degrees. Their Venus is in the fourth house. That's where their eclipse is happening, and that is the in mundane astrology. It represents their homeland, and the sun is sitting on their government, which is the 10th house. Okay, let me see what I have. I have the word how fast and how much something changes, or how likely it changed suddenly without warning. Iran's ascendant is Sagittarius, and again, the themes are foreign affairs when you have Sagittarius. And this could be positive for them or negative. I'm not quite sure, but it does affect them. They are a part of this Hamas situation. Uranus in that seventh house. Remember, Uranus doesn't get along with this eclipse, and it's sitting in that seventh house, but the seventh house represents their open enemies, which would be USA currently right now. So USA could be the problem. And they're probably gaining something positive with USA being wanting their freedom. And it could be the issues of them being on the boat. And I'm sorry, I'm not a newscaster. I'm not preparing you on that, but definitely something to watch with Iran. You are talking about Pisces themes. Their Venus is in Pisces. Pisces could be additionally watched with the water, the oil. I think they are selling oil over there too. Venus is dealing with what they value as well, their economy. It opposes Saturn, which deals with restrictions, but that's already on their chart. But it definitely could be something brought to the life on how they're setting boundaries, and they decided to do something new. This could be something that's already been done, and now we're seeing it, or something that could be possibly be unfolding for the next 6 months. And Uranus on that descendant, again, it really talks about us. Sudden changes in alliances, unexpected negotiations, breakdowns in agreements, unconventional agreements, surprising actions, all that could be happening. That Mercury in the Sun in a Virgo sitting on that Saturn makes the conversations very serious. Government announces, documents and negotiations become more prominent. North Node in Aquarius is in that third house, so major things in communication is brought to them. That Mars in Cancer in that eighth house, and it really gets along with the eclipse, but it does not get along. So this is where it could be bad. It doesn't get along with their natal Sun in Aries, which Aries represents war, and Mars in Cancer represents war. Okay. So that's one element where I see it's not positive for them. So let's see how this continues. And this is them trying to protect their homeland or that water. Eighth house represents foreign finances, debt, crisis, morality. And the fourth house represents their homeland. Wait, and the sun is in their fifth house, and that fifth house represents them trying to have a voice and stand strong in their pride. Okay. Um, Government decisions made under pressure. Yeah. Okay. So I can go on and on about Iran, but we're going to move on. I just want you to know that this eclipse is 100% affecting them. We do know that the Strait of Hormuz is already happening with them. Uranus in that seventh house represents us. I do want you to know that. Next chart, Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles, and I thought this was interesting. Pisces eclipse is in the sixth house of Los Angeles. Where is the eclipse? It's a Y conjunction to the sun. Here's the eclipse opposing LA's sun. One thing I thought was direct, though, is that it's quincunx the Neptune. Neptune in LA represents that Hollywood, but there's something that's very uncomfortable with this eclipse. Okay, let me see what else. What else did I see? Oh, the eclipse is in the sixth house, so it's dealing with labor. It's dealing with maybe the nurses, the hospital, the healthcare, working conditions, employment changes. So there could be something with that theme. 12th house are things that are ending, disappearing. Very Pisces. Also service and working for others too. Uranus is in that ninth house, and this was what it's not getting along with. But Uranus is unexpected changes with anything dealing with law, court, judges, universities, at a school, higher learning. So there could maybe even publishing. I'm just throwing it all out there so you can know. Let me see the North Node, and it's opposing our Mercury, the North Node. So whatever this new change is, the discussions, the transportation, it could ruin it. Okay, or it's not seeing eye to eye. Okay. Yeah, but it really hitting that quincunx, that Neptune, made me say it's something about LA's identity, image, or population, or overall condition, or something with the celebrities in LA. There's a problem there, and this eclipse is bringing that, and that could be something dealing with the Hayden Panettiere. I don't know. That may not be big news, but something with Hollywood, glamour, movies, fantasy. That could be something huge, and there's a new way. Maybe drugs, homelessness as well, or addiction. Something big with LA. Okay, so that's what we have for LA. Lastly, I want to do Japan. And I'm looking at my time. I only have 7 minutes and I have to go. So I'm going to have to come back and do the eclipse. But I want to do, I mean, the eclipse, the horoscopes. So I apologize. Let me, oh, I press save. I'm moving too fast. Okay, let me do Japan. And let me explain Japan. Japan, they had a huge earthquake. Major, major things with Japan. I had to look up. This is one of the charts that I have on Japan. If you have Uranus by the MC, I would think that represents earthquake. Okay. We have Jupiter coming close to Pluto for them. Jupiter is expanding, a transition and intensity. The Sun and Mercury is in their first house, sitting close to their ascendant. That represents what they look like, what's happening to them. Everyone's looking at them. The eclipse is on their descendant, which represents peace of mind. The moon represents the people, but it's not getting along with their appearance as well. Let me see with some other stuff that I saw. The Venus is sitting on top of their Neptune, death of what they value as well. But major earthquakes happening here for them. If it hasn't happened, I didn't even look it up. I didn't have time, but that is not a chart I would want to look. I blessings and all my prayers go out to people in Japan. But that is what we have. Now let me see if I can find my horoscopes and if I can do horoscopes for you guys real quick. Again, I told you this will really affect the mutable signs, but I am going to just say them and try to get this out as much as I can. Okay. Let me see if I can find the first ones. Okay, so Aries, and I'm gonna pull a card out and I'm gonna try to do this fast. Okay, Aries, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. Okay, so this is about ending, solitude, subconscious, spiritual matters, things that are very hidden. There's something there. The North Node means you can have some new friendships, a new network, okay, or something in your future. We have the Four of Swords. This is a time for resting. Don't say anything, okay? Now, Tauruses, I'm sorry I don't have the banners on. Let me see if I could put the banners on. Okay. So that was my Aries. Okay. I just put the banners in. Now we're going to do Tauruses. Taurus, this eclipse is happening in your 11th house. This is a house of friendship, social workers, social networks, could be media, communities, flying, audience, long-term dreams, your future goals. The North Node is in that 10th house. So you're gaining something either with your career or reputation, leadership, bosses, achievement, or it could be some type of expected change with a friendship and something with your career is affected. We have the star card. Is this a star card? No. Yeah, it is. The star card in reverse. And this could be you having lack of faith, lack about the future, some issues with a friend, especially with the star card in reverse. Okay, it represents Aquarius. So the Aquarius energy is not working for you. It's like you're supposed to gain it and you don't want to gain it. Okay, so that's happening. All right, or maybe I feel like it's an issue with a friend. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Okay, Geminis. The eclipse is happening in your 10th house. This is all about your career, your reputation, okay? Your achievements, okay? Your public visible life, all right? The North Node is in that 9th house. So either there's something public, right, happening, and you're changing your philosophy, you're writing, you're publishing, you're teaching. There could be something spiritual, something traveling happening for you. We have the King of Swords in reverse, and this is all about controlling with words and spreading lies. Okay, abuse of power, dictator. It's like the opinions that you're having is not correct. Okay, so be aware of that. Yeah, it's something about the voice and the mind of thought is not working. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Okay, Cancers. This eclipse is happening in your ninth house. This is all about travel, foreign affair, foreign countries, higher education, and um, the North Node is in your eighth house. So you're gaining something new, and it could be a shared income, resources, something that's very taboo, something that's very mystery, or even therapy. Okay. We have the Queen of Swords. I like this. This is someone who's communicating with compassion. That is going to happen for you. Okay. All right. I will see you next time. Bye. Okay, Leos, this eclipse is having in your eighth house. This is really deep, or this is dealing with finances or sex or an inheritance or investment, taxes, things that are very secret and taboo, or even therapy, right? The North Node is in that seventh house of relationships. So you're gaining something with a marriage, a partnership, a business partner, could be dealing with harmony and balance too. Oh, we have the high priestess. I like this. This is using your intuition, really listening to that inner voice. Okay, that is what we have for you guys. I will see you next time. Bye. Virgo, the eclipse for you is happening in your seventh house. This is a house of marriage, commitment, partnership, business, contracts, law, justice, fairness, even aesthetics and beauties. Open enemies. Okay. Now, the North Node is in that sixth house. So you're gaining something that could be dealing with work, coworkers. It's like you're dating a coworker, or the coworker brings you harmony and balance, or maybe there's new responsibilities, health routines. This is that day to day routines that I was talking about that deals with that symbiont symbol of spirituality. Something's gaining there. You have the Page of Pentacles. This makes me think you're going to start a new health journey, a new health routine, or something dealing with work that's tangible. Okay. I'll see you next time. Bye. Libras, this eclipse is happening in your sixth house of health, sixth house of work, co-workers, responsibility, health routines, organizations, pet and service. The North Node, you're gaining something from that fifth house. It could be romance, hobbies, dating, children, creativity, pleasures, I said hobbies, entertainment, really having some fun. We have the King of Pentacles. It makes you move slow. There's stability. Great with finances. Practical leader. Great with business sense. Very protective on your sensuality too. Nurturing that energy. Okay. That is what we have for you. Let me know how it plays out for you. All right. Bye. Okay, Scorpios, this eclipse is happening in your fifth house. So something is changing when it comes to your dating, your creativity, maybe with children. This also could do with fertility, romance, entertainment, right? The North Node is in your fourth house. So something with your family or something with your past is going to come back up. We have the Queen of Cups. Ooh, yeah, talk about the past. This is compassion, warmth, caring, intuition, healing, dealing with the mother for sure, and be very empathetic. That's what we have for you. I'll see you next time. Bye. Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius rising. How I explained, it happens in your fourth house. This eclipse is dealing with either your home, your family, like I is dealing with my home and my family, parents, ancestry, property, emotional security, private life, and where you belong. Okay. Now, something from the past could be coming up. Now, the North Node is in your third house. So it's all about communication. It's all about your cars, your driving. This is my example: transportation, commuting, communication, phones, media, information, siblings, your neighborhood, or your neighbors, or intermediate environment. We have the Three of Wands in reverse for you. Usually this means going. And it says delays, lack of planning, progress, setback, obstacle, frustrations, unexpected delays. That was prime example of what I was going through. But that is what's happening with this eclipse. Let it flow. Believe in God. Let go. Put your faith in God is what I'm saying. All right. Bye. Capricorns. This eclipse is happening in your third house. This is all about transportation, communication, writing, speaking. Could be dealing with your siblings, your relatives, your neighbors, short trips, media, even writing a book. Now, the North Node is where you're gaining something, and that's in your second house of finances, income, possessions, what you value, your talents, your voice, financial. We have the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords means that the journey is over. It's about to be over. Okay. Painful endings, stabbed in the back, loss, lost behind, left out, blood. I'm reading this thing because the cards has stuff, but this is someone who feels like they're at their end. The words are being or stabbing you in the back. What people say is stabbing you in the back. You need to know that this is the end. I'm going to pull a card. You're going to be feeling like you're lacking in resources and funding, but there is stability. You do have a community. You need to focus on that. And I pulled the 5 of Pentacles, and then I picked the 4 of Wands for you guys. All right. All right. I will see you guys next time. Bye. Aquarius, this eclipse is happening in your second house. This is about finances. This is also about what you value, your self-worth. The North Node is in your first house. You're gaining something about yourself, something that's about your independence or your body. We have the 8 of Pentacles. This is usually someone who leaves town and they really focus on the details, but this is lack of focus. This is quality, motivation, or ambition. Being a perfectionist is what you get with this. Lack of desire, output, lazy, dead end job, low skills, mediocrity. It's someone who is North Node first house. Second, you're not producing what you want far as finances or far as your job. You need to practice alchemy. So you need to practice harmony, balance, and you need to be optimistic and have faith in God. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye. Lastly, Pisces. This eclipse is really, really affecting you because it's in your first house. So it's all about you. It's your identity. It's your personality. It's your personal direction, your independence, your appearance, the way you approach life. The 12th house is where the North Node is. So you're gaining something that could be ending. Literally. I know it's something new, but it's a new ending. Are you gaining something that's very spiritual? Solitude, a healing, a forgiveness, something that's very behind the scenes. You're at a crossroads. You're stuck in between two decisions. You're in between. You have one foot in, one foot out. You're weighing your options. There's confusion. Maybe there's hidden information. We have the Knight of Swords. This is energy of move fast, think later. Okay. This is a very fast moving card, but it's all about your intellectual energy. It's about being daring. It's also about success, but fast thinking. Go with your first thought, and that will work out for you with this. All right. Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. Please check out I'm going to put the horoscopes deep, and they're going to be written down in my Substack. It's going to be completely free. This video will be connected with it. Okay. So if you're listening to this via podcast or watching this, I will come back and put it on there. So go ahead and check out my Substack. It is linked down below, and you can see more details of the horoscope. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Bye bye.